Good morning, I'm Maria from the Richardson Simple Living. Today's Tuesday, so I'm going to be doing a book haul today. It's Sian's 2021 to 2022 Read Aloud book haul. So normally, well, not normally, we've only been homeschooling 1 year, but last year we read 14 books, but I think it was 4 of them, 4 or 5, I'm not sure now, were small little pamphletty books. So I'm not actually sure how many sort of standard size books she'd have got through, maybe 10-ish, but 10, 11-ish. But anyway, we've chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 here that we've chosen. I've only bought one of those especially for a read aloud. The rest she's taken from her bookshelf because she has loads of books, loads of them, and hasn't read through a lot of them. So we've picked out 10 she hasn't read, or tell a lie actually, 2 of them I've bought. So I've picked out 8 that she's not read. We will want a couple more, but we normally buy her a couple for World Book Day anyway, so it leaves us room then to get a couple more. Anyway, without waffling on, my mouth's all in a tongue twister today. It's early in the morning and I think my mouth hasn't woke up yet. So we'll start with the books. I'll show you what I mean by the pamphletty books. You probably remember these from last year. I showed you these What Was series. In this case it's a Who Was, but it's same series, little pamphletty type books, small books, you know. And I'm not sure if it was 4 or 5 of them she read last year. I did do a review of all the books that she read last year. So she's into Napoleon at the moment, Napoleon at War. She's quite interested in looking up about that. So I thought, oh, they did one of these in the range that I'd been buying her. So I thought we'll get one of these just to give her a bit of extra information. And they're good little books. I mean, I've shown you the others in the series. Just good little informative books, just tells you what you need to know, really, the main things. Nice illustrations. It's packed full of illustrations. They don't take long to read though. I mean, I think the others are in chapters. I'm assuming this one is in sections of some kind. Yeah, chapters. So it shouldn't take long to read. I think the others took about 4 days on average reading. She read a couple of chapters, sometimes 3 chapters at a time, because like I say, they're tiny. It's not like a normal book. So she wants that. We got her that mainly because she's interested in Napoleon. So she said, can I do it for read aloud first of all? I said, yeah, we'll start off on that one then. So we've got that one. The next book we've got is a book that she started reading. She went to mainstream school, as most of you know, for her primary years. And I think it was, not sure, year 5 or year 6, I started reading this book, The Explorer. They were doing it together in school. It wasn't a read aloud or anything. It's something they did together in school. But they only got a couple of chapters in. I think it might have been maybe when they had to finish with the pandemic broke out, you know, and all the schools shut. That's perhaps why they didn't get any further. But anyway, The Explorer. And she really liked it. She thought it was really good. And she said, oh, I'd like that book. So I'd actually bought it for Christmas. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. I'm not sure now. But we bought it for Christmas anyway. And she'd never got round to reading it. It's quite a thickish book, but she never got round to reading it. So we decided we'd pick the books out together for a read aloud for this year coming. And she says, oh, we'll do The Explorer. And she'll actually get to read it all. Because she said, I've seen the first couple of chapters, but she wants to know the outcome of it. Apparently it's quite a good book. I've not heard of it before, but Sian had just come home and told me about it. But it's recommended by Jacqueline Wilson, and she is a very good novelist. She says it's a very exciting adventure story, and she loved it. So if it's got Jacqueline Wilson's seal of approval, it's got mine. So it's going to be a good story, I'm pretty sure. It's about when a plane crashes, 4 children are stranded in the Amazon jungle. They've got to survive alone, but was someone there before them? What I'm going to do this time around though, I'm going, every time she's finished reading a book, before we move on to the next one, I'm going to jot down a quick review of it, how we've liked it, what we've done with it, and perhaps give you a quick review every time we've done a book. I mean, I'll round it all up at the end of next year anyway, but perhaps just do quick reviews in between, so we can see if it was worth having or not. The next one, I'm not sure where we've got this one from. Lightning Girl. It's by Alicia Dixon. Superhero Squad. Never heard of it. It's quite jazzy. I mean, look at that blue. I don't know what it is. I don't know where Sian had got it from, but my eldest daughter, Lisa, she loves books and she goes to the bookstore, and you often get offers, so many for a certain price. And she used to take Sian in as well and do the same with Sian. So it's perhaps come from one of those when they've had a little book haul at the bookshop. So it's hard to read the back to tell you what it actually says, because as you can see, look, it's red with white writing, and my glasses are a bit scratched, and I think I need stronger ones. But no, I'll turn it this way so if I can see. It says Aurora Beebe has been catapulted to superhero mega fame, but always being snapped by the paps and splashed across newspaper front pages can be tough. Superheroes from all over the globe are gathering to a top secret summit. Aurora hopes she'll find some friends who know all about the pressures of being the most in-demand new hero in town. But when a crime is committed and there are rumblings that the culprit could be Aurora, can she unmask the real villain and clear her name? So that's what that book's about. Quite nice size writing. Never been read, so we'll let you know what that one's like when we read it. Now the next book Sian has read and she loved it. It's called A Dog's Purpose. We bought this from a book fair, remember, because when she was at school, the book fairs, travelling book fairs used to go into school, and they're there for a few days and you get to go in and buy books. So she'd picked that from there. It's by W. Bruce Cameron. Oh, it says now a major film at the bottom. I might have to look out for that for her. But she loved the book. I've not heard the story or read it, so she says, can we do it again? So I'm quite happy to, means I've never heard of it. It's a remarkable story of one dog's search for his purpose over the course of several lives. More than just another charming dog story, A Dog's Purpose touches on the universal search for an answer to life's most basic question: why are we here? So it says it's surprised to find himself reborn as a rambunctious golden-haired puppy after a tragically short life as a stray. You have to excuse me, the light and the colouring. A stray mutt. Bailey's search for his new life leads him into loving arms of 8-year-old Ethan. During their countless adventures, Bailey joyously discovers how to be a good dog. But this life as a family pet is not the end of Bailey's journey. Reborn as a puppy yet again, Bailey wonders if he will ever find his purpose. So it sounds good, sounds interesting. So yeah, we'll have a read of that and I'll let you know again what it's like. Now there's me saying I only bought 2 books. I actually bought 3 because I bought this one as well for a read aloud. A Good Night, Mr. Tom. Now I've seen the movie to this years ago. I can basically remember what it was about. It's quite a sad story about an old man who never had children, never experience with children, don't think he particularly liked children. And then there's the young boy who'd, I think, come from London, had a really rough life, and sort of between them, they've got to get to know each other and ways of life and understand everything. It had a sad ending, really. At the back it just says, let me turn this way because the light's better. What you doing? Asked Tom. You gets into it, not under it. Tom drew back the sheets and Willie climbed in between them. Sammy, meanwhile, was standing impatiently at Tom's side, wagging his tail in lunatic fashion. Go on, you daft dog, said Tom, and Sammy leapt on the bed between Willie's arms and licked his face. Slowly, Willie put his arms around him, gave a small cry and burst into tears. So, quite a sad story. inside cover says, as Britain stands on the brink of the Second World War, young Willie Beach is evacuated from London to the safety of a country village, Little Weirwold. A frightened and neglected boy, he is billeted at the cottage where Tom Oakley, a grumpy recluse, has lived on his own for 40 years. Gradually, under Tom's gruff care, Will begins to flourish and make friends with children in the village, but his newfound happiness is shattered by an unexpected summons from his mother to return home to Hawthorne, London, and Will is left to face the prospect of never seeing Mr. Tom again. It's a nice movie, I remember. It was a sad movie at the end, but I thought it'd be nice for Sian to read, because, as you know, Sian studies the World Wars and things like that, so I thought, you know, a story sort of based around then she'll enjoy. I mean, I enjoy reading World War II stories. I've been reading, oh gosh, the auction book series, ration book series. I can't remember who writes them now, but Ration Book Wedding and a Ration Book Christmas, and there's a few in the series, and they've got the last one coming out soon. I've just read the latest one, the last one's coming out soon, so I don't want it to end, but that's about family based around the war and, you know, how it all went on. But anyway, we're not supposed to be talking about my books, but they're the sort of books I'm reading at the moment. So yeah, I thought it'd be nice for Sian to read something around the war as well, so I think she'll like that. If she does, we might watch the movie. I haven't got the movie, but I'm sure I can find it somewhere. Right then, I think the next lot are a favourite author now, Jacqueline Wilson. We've got a pile of them. So we've got Opal Plumstead, Jacqueline Wilson. See if we can find something to tell you about what it's about. It says Opal Plumstead is a fiercely intelligent, a proud scholarship girl with plans to go to university. Yet her dreams are shattered when her father is sent to prison, and 14-year-old Opal must abandon school and start work at the Fairy Glen Sweet Factory. Opal struggles to get along with the other workers, who think her snobby and stuck up, but Opal idolises Mrs. Roberts, the factory's beautiful, dignified owner, who introduces her to the legendary Emmeline Pankhurst and her fellow suffragettes. And when Opal meets Morgan, Mrs. Roberts' handsome son and heir to the Fairy Glen, she believes she has found her soulmate. But the First World War is looming on the horizon and would change Opal's life forever. So that sounds good. That's been sitting on Sian's shelf for a couple of years. I remember buying it for Christmas a few years ago, and it's never been read. So I'm finally going to get around to reading that one. Next one, again, Jacqueline Wilson. This one is Candy Floss, another one that I bought a couple of years ago for Christmas and has been sat lying around on a shelf. Let's have a look what tells you about it. It says, I wanted Mum, but I wanted Dad too. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving him. When Floss's mum and her husband moved to Australia, will Floss go with them, or will she stay with her dad? Dad's not much good at tidying up, but together they have fun eating chip butties and candy floss from the local fair. When disaster strikes, they find themselves homeless. Can their fairground friends help out? Well, it sounds like she stayed with her dad, but I mean, I can't be sure because I've not read it. So that sounds like it's going to be a good story. Next one is a Jacqueline Wilson Christmas cracker. So we'll probably try and read that as it runs up to Christmas time. That'll be the best time to read that. I think it says it's a Tracy Beaker one. Join Tracy Beaker for festive stories, fun activities and more. We've not read any of the Tracy Beaker stories or seen it on television or anything. So I'm not 100% sure what sort of thing she gets up to. I mean, I've heard of Tracy Beaker, but Sian's not read any or watched any. So, Merry Christmas. Won't be long though, will it? You know, the shop's starting to get a bit thin, and people are talking Christmas already. So, the Jacqueline Wilson Christmas cracker is packed with festive puzzles, tasty recipes, perfect present tips and brilliant stories, including starring Tracy Beaker, in which Jacqueline's most famous and fierce heroine gets the lead part in the Christmas play. And it says underneath, join Tracy, Hetty and all your other favourite characters for the best Christmas ever. So it looks like it's a few of the characters that she's written about in different stories, short stories and things. So we'll do that one as we're coming close to Christmas. Again, we bought that, I think, 2 Christmases ago, and she never got around to reading it. Jacqueline Wilson again, Girls Under Pressure. It's another one. I think I might have bought this for a birthday a couple of years ago. Just sat on the shelf because she's got so many books. If I was to show you her shelf, you'd be surprised. Say shelf, it's floor to ceiling, high across all one back wall, and they're double layered, a books are. And we've got the jolly task of going to sort everything out in there. We're hoping to do it this week, but I'm not sure whether Dean will get around to it this week to help, because I can't reach the top. So it might be next week. It's not a bit of a daunting task cleaning Sian's room is. Or not cleaning, but sorting it. She's got toys that she's had for years and years that she's never opened, and they're in another cupboard, floor to ceiling high, all packed and stacked. Oh dear. We get rid of things, we put things in the loft, but every August we have a clear out with her. So yeah, but anyway, I'm going off track now. Famous for that, me. So what was this one? Girls Under Pressure. So it says on the back, too fat, too fat, too fat, too fat. I've never exactly liked the way I look. I suppose I was cute when I was little, but now I feel like an alien has invaded my body and blown it up out of all recognition. It doesn't help that my best friends are both drop dead gorgeous and skinny. Magda is super glamorous, and Nadine has even got the chance to be a real model in a glossy magazine. Next to them, who's going to look at me? Ellie the elephant. So it sounds a bit like a teenage sort of book, young teenagers sort of book. Sian actually, when I read the back bit to her, she said, sounds like me. So, you know, it's sort of that period that girls, and maybe boys, go through where they feel fat and ugly and, you know, everybody's better sort of thing. So we'll have a read of that and we'll see what that's like, and we'll get back to you and tell you what that's like and see how Jacqueline Wilson has actually handled the story, because there can be quite sensitive issues with the youngsters today, and you know, it can be quite serious issues really. So we'll see what her story's about and how she's handled the story. And the last one, Jacqueline Wilson, I did buy this specially. It was a latest book out, but I see she's got another one coming out. I'm not sure if it was the end of the year. The Runaway Girls. I was a bit concerned actually with Jacqueline Wilson, because I was saying that to Sian, we'll have to get them all read because the age range is like 13 seem to be the top of the age range. But I noticed some of her books now that are coming out are going, I think they're sort of between 8 and 14. Not like I said before, age ranges don't matter, because I'll sit and read these books quite happily. I mean, if Sian was reading a series and I was into it and suddenly she didn't want no more and I wanted to know the rest, I'd be happy to go out and buy the book and read the rest myself, you know. So I don't worry about age ranges, but I don't want other people saying to her, oh, you read baby books. You know how people can be. But yeah, I notice a lot of her books now are aiming a bit higher to 14-year-olds, so there's not so much of a rush now. But anyway, this one, the last one, The Runaway Girls. Let's have a look at the inside cover. It's set in London, 1851. Queen Victoria is on the throne and the Great Exhibition is about to open. Lucy Lockett lives with her father, the new mother and the new baby. They sent away Lucy's beloved nurse and replaced her with a horrid governess. Lucy desperately wants to have some fun, but nobody pays any attention to her, not even Papa. Kitty Fisher is a street performer who earns tins for her supper by tumbling. She has always lived on the streets and by her wits, with only the kind gaffer to help her, but now the gaffer is gone and Kitty is all alone. When Lucy runs away from home, Kitty shows Lucy how to survive, where to find the best picnic leftovers in the park and which trees make the best beds. Lucy learns quickly and shows Kitty her own skills, befriending families to get free meals and singing for the crowds. But the streets of Victorian London are dangerous, and soon the girls find themselves under threat from thieves, or even worse, the workhouse. So this sounds quite interesting. What I like about Jacqueline Wills and all her stories, she sets them in time periods. So she brings in a bit of historical background to it with the time period it's set in. Like this is Victorian. We've read one, was it the start of World War One or World War Two there? So there's that time period. Yeah, they're all the bit of historical drama. But yeah, I quite like that about them. So she's obviously researched time periods and everything like that. So that is the latest one for the moment. Apparently it's got a surprise appearance by one of Jacqueline's famous characters. We're all thinking it must be Hetty. Can't be 100% sure because she's had a couple of really good characters that have shown up in different books. But me and Sean think it's Hetty. So yeah, we got that one as well. So that's all the books we've got to read for now. She probably will need a few more, but like I say, I think it's February time, World Book Day, then we'll get some more. We'll buy a couple for World Book Day for her and have a few more to read. So that's that for, let's say, a book haul. It's a book haul from a shelf. So that's what she's going to be reading throughout this coming school year now, right through until the end of July next year. And like I said, we'll get a couple more. So yeah, that's it really. I enjoy listening to Sean read aloud, actually. I like the read alouds. Sometimes Sean says, can't you read? I said, no, I've got to hear you read. So I want to make sure that she can read, that she reads words okay, because we don't do spellings anymore. She did them all the way through primary school, but we've never done spellings together. She does a word search, which is good for spellings and word identification and that, but that's as close as we get. We don't do spellings. So a good way of me knowing that she actually can read and know how words are spelled is by listening to her read. So, because sometimes, you know, she can say a word and it's not always right, and I have to sort of nudge her a bit and say, said that way. And she'll go, I know. She just tested me. So yeah, but I enjoy listening to the stories as well. I do like the stories. So that's for this coming year anyway. So now today's Tuesday. I'm going to come on tomorrow actually. I'm going to do a special. I told you I was feeling a bit lost after doing all these 30 days and suddenly like, what do I do now? But no, I'm going to come on tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm going to do a little type of day in the life because I want to show you how the landing's gone. Decorating's finished now, so I'll show you that because I've shown you it in stages and the hassles, and I thought, well, I ought to show you what it looks like now it's all done, now it went. Also, I'm going to have a quick wander in the garden. I know it's only been, what, a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks since the gardening collab, but a lot has changed in there, and not really for the good either. So I thought, I'll come back tomorrow and we'll have a little talk and a wander, and I'll show you some of these things, how things are doing, a bit of a day in the life. So yeah. So I'll leave it at that for now, and I shall see you tomorrow. Bye.